I have a quick question
Uh-huh.
about potential counter argument.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to use my daughter's education as like the educational experience portion of my essay.
Mhm.
She's in kindergarten, and for a counter argument before the one that I turned in, I thought maybe a counter argument would be that this method might not work with younger students. It might be necessary for certain narrations, like
Mhm.
to teach them
Mhm.
like the foundation of literacy and stuff.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
But I can't
ABCs.
really think of a good argument to say why that's not true.
Yeah, so I think, okay, yeah. So anybody, and before I go on about this, because that is a great, counter, right? Like, so someone's going to say, okay, yeah, that's fine, but that's for like college students, maybe high school, maybe like first they have to learn the basics, right? First they have to learn all their ABCs and basic math, learn their times tables. Only then can they start to really think about these hard questions and really examine the world. So does that like, can you guys think of any ways to counter that?
I was trying. I had to come up with a new one because I was like, oh, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I was thinking maybe that teachers at that age level could do like an age appropriate, like giving them choices and then letting them choose which they
Yeah.
think is but then I thought that might be like the false illusion of choice because it's not like the teacher's really learning anything. They're just posing these questions that they already know the answer to.
Yeah, well, okay, so how about this? Okay, yeah, and I like that. I like that idea, but okay, this is what kind of pops to my head right away. And I want you guys to also chime in here if you can think of anything. Okay, Leo, you could probably come up with something on the fly here. But I don't think that the problem posing method, at least my understanding of it, means that nobody can learn any facts. That's not what that's not what it means. Okay. So yes, it's not focused on that solely, right? That's not the true value of education. But in order to learn anything, I don't think that anybody would say, well, people don't need to learn how to read. Why do you need to learn it? That's just like, learning your ABCs and the way the letters sound. Look, that's just like, the man trying to, crush us, and we're learning his, white man's English. We're not doing that. No, no one would say that. Okay. There has to be a balance there. And I think that's the key. And maybe that's what you want to start thinking about a little bit is, yes, you do need some underlying knowledge, right, to be able to form your opinion. But at the same time, kids, especially young kids, oh my gosh, they're so creative. They come into school like wanting to just play with things and create things and come up with all these crazy and funny and silly ideas, and and learn about the world that way. And if teachers are just kind of like stopping them from doing that and saying, no, you can't question anything, you can't play around with this stuff at all, you have to, you have nothing to contribute here, all you can do is just sit passively and take in the information, then we're going to end up with, and kind of maybe this is like a little bit of what we have the result of, is we have these whole like generations of automatons, the word that he used, that just are just robots. So there has to be a balance of, yes, giving them information, but then also helping them to think about that information and think creativity. And not even when they're young, it's not even you have to help them think creatively. You have to just not stop them from being creative, right? You have to give them ways so that they can express their creativity, because you little kids are so creative. And I really think that the school system kind of drains it out of them, as they go. I don't know, that's my personal opinion, but yeah, anybody have any, thoughts about that, or anywhere to jump off to help Brianna out?
That was a tough one. I'll be honest. I'm not too sure on that one.
Right. That's what I'm having trouble with. Is it's such a good point, especially because I'm currently going through it.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
but
how do I
and
teach
so
her
part, yeah.
METs? Like, go ahead.
So you don't always have to say this idea is wrong, okay? Because that's not always even true. But what you can say is that, another way to turn it is to use the, however, while this may be true in, oh wait, there's something in the chat here. Oh, okay. Oh, and then Jason, type in the chat how if your mic's not working, type in the chat how your interview went, if you got the job or not, if you know. And then, yeah, you don't always have to say that, yeah, this is absolutely wrong. You can say that is a good point, but we also have to take into consideration this other thing. Okay, so I think that might be how you want to counter that, is say, yes, it's true that they do need to learn the basics, they do need to learn the foundation, of knowledge when they're that age, but they also need to be allowed to be creative, and they need to be, encouraged to keep their creativity and question things and question, the teacher, and come up with ideas of their own. Because that is really how kids get excited about education, and then they want to learn more, and then they can have that love of education for the rest of their life.
Okay, and then that speaks to the point that Freire was saying, where it has to be in relation to the student, right?
Yeah.
Something that excites them. Okay, you remember back in the day how they would say, like, oh, you're a hands-on learner, you're a visual learner. Maybe that comes into it, like, to teach the child the foundation, but a specific way to the child, rather than just some homogenous curriculum. That's what I get. The standardized test versus individualized learning. I'm gonna write that down.
Yes, write this down. Oh my gosh, I was gonna say something else too. Yeah. Yes, all of that. Write that down.